Hello, and thank you for participating in today's event by the Harrington Group International. We have a great mix of industries, which is good to see, and a significant amount of international participants. So thank you for taking the time. My goal today is to provide a thought-provoking discussion about Quality 4.0 and quality costs, and emphasizing the focus on people first, then process, and then technology. The learning objective is to help quality professionals help their organizations make vital connection between Quality 4.0 technology and their ability to thrive in disruption, using quality principles like quality costs to enable transformation and growth. Quality professionals can and hopefully will play a vital role in leading their organizations to apply quality disciplines like quality costs to thrive in this new digital and disruptive area, and to achieve excellence through quality as embraced in the future of quality. Deploying an organization's digital strategy won't be without hiccups. There will be some common challenges across industries and different maturity and quality system levels, and others that are specific to an organization. Standard webinar housekeeping. Your phones are muted. We would like to have questions at the end, and if you can enter them in the sound block, that would be great. A copy of presentation can be downloaded during the event with some other white papers. If you have any problems with that, send me an email and I'd be happy to send it to you. And then for those who attended, there will be a certificate of attendance. Starting with probably the best peer review available is from Dr. James Harrington, who wrote the first quality cost book a long time ago. I'd also like to thank all the other ones, and some of them are attending today, that did a peer review of the white paper. I really appreciate that. So as always, let's start with a definition. The ASQ cost of quality definition from the Pocket Guide is essentially just looking at where resources are being applied to prevent quality appraise and looking at failures. But the technology is here. We've come a long way. There's a lot of things going on that I want to share with you today that can make it better and probably invoke a new definition. So the Harrington Group's cost of quality 4.0 definition is a success planning business process that provides information for better decision making about the application of resources to drive corporate goals. And again, the key part of this is driving and explaining how we can help with corporate goals. And what I mean by that is, think about if hopefully some of you have watched the Star Trek series, the ability to ask the computer, run a level 3 diagnostics, access the ship logs and tell me about the history of this, initiate a sensor sweep, analyze this. Now, some of you are already using AI if you use Alexa or Siri or any of the verbal tools where they're doing this. But what I want you to think about is back at work, just asking the computer, why did the product launch for this one perform better than the last 3? Should we increase or decrease calibration intervals? Compare and contrast the timing of engineering changes and the impact on profits. Or the same thing, compare and contrast the changing suppliers' impact. Maybe would an investment in operating training reduce failure costs, and what training is recommended? The idea of talking and asking the business system questions is key to what we want to think about in all the Quality 4.0 areas, and specifically in quality costs. So there's been I did a significant literature search and studying what's been out there since the 1950s. And there's a couple key ones. managers that have access to this quality cost information makes better decisions. And what I think the Quality 4.0 technology stack is going to help us with is, in the past, it's been a very difficult way to maintain it. And when I say maintain it, one of the things that almost every paper pointed out is accounting systems are designed to generate external financial reports. They're not intended to provide quality cost information. And in fact, that's one of the difficulties, because the quality costs are absorbed in the product cost overhead, and they're camouflaged. We can't find them. But one of the biggest things that I've seen is, well, there's lack of management support. And we're going to talk about that, because I believe it's due to the inability to explain the cause and effect relationship that impacts corporate goals. You know, which category? It's kind of simple. Are you preventing problems? No. Are you looking for problems? No. Then you found a problem. And it's just that kind of simple explanation that I found helpful. What I haven't necessarily found helpful is, everybody knows the iceberg. You know, okay, I got it. How do I get the numbers at the bottom of the hidden ones, the less visible ones? And I've seen people try to go through and, go through the theory of quality costs. What I found is curves confuse most people. If you got a bunch of engineers in the room, they're going to start arguing about the slope of the curve and where they hit at. So I don't recommend sending them information about the curve or the iceberg. What I think is important is to tell a story. And probably the easiest one is car maintenance. And just having a conversation with executives or managers or employees that say, well, when you invest in regular maintenance like oil changes, brake inspections, tire rotations, you prevent potential issues that lead to significant problems literally down the road in your car. So the money spent on preventive maintenance is comparable to costs associated with ensuring quality products or services. Because what happens if you neglect your car maintenance? The initial savings from skipping checkups might seem appealing, but over time, cost of repairs reduce in car performance is very likely. So in the business world, neglecting the cost of quality, which involves ensuring processes and products meet high standards, can also result in defects, customer complaints, expensive corrections, and other problems. So just as a well-maintained car performs optimally and saves money in the long run, investing in cost of quality ensures business processes run smoothly, products meet or exceed customer expectations, and the costly repercussion of defects and errors are avoided. It's a strategic investment that pays off by enhancing customer satisfaction, reducing rework, and ultimately contributing to the bottom line. I just find this is easier to explain to people. Don't get them distracted by curves. Don't show them an iceberg that they've seen for decades. Help them get into the information better. Now, here's another one that's important. What the maturity of your current quality system is impacts your ability to move forward. And I don't put this in to get you frustrated if you're in a low maturity level, which means there's no real formal reproach or mostly just reactive. Just understand that in low maturity quality systems, the money you spend on prevention and appraisal is low and failure is high. But as you get better at it, you're a higher maturity level. That's when you switch to high dollars prevention, high dollars appraisal, and low dollars in failure. So again, don't get frustrated if you're in an environment that's low maturity. Just realize the impact. So, a lot of known challenges from the research, difficulty in calculating the ROI because all that stuff at the bottom of the iceberg and is hidden in accounting systems. I can't find it. There's also ones that we're taking on too much too fast. We're going to put in a $1 billion global enterprise. A very it just takes on too much too fast. Start small, take baby steps. And some of the challenges is we start arguing about the report accuracy than what we're trying to do. And there's ways to solve that. We'll talk about that. Resistance to change, that's on every list. But what I found is people aren't resistant to change. They're resistant to change that doesn't make them and their life better. So there's a real people and cultural issue that can be addressed. Measuring the intangible costs, that has a lot to do with report accuracy. Let's just do some estimates, some guesstimates, get finance and accounting involved. Data collection and measurement has been a challenge, but you'll see in the Quality 4.0 technology that can be a lot easier very quickly. And, how do I balance quality and cost objectives? But the keys to success is back to people again. Ask people about their process. Ask about what's going on. Have people make their own estimates in these allocations. If we're guessing that it takes $500 to process an MRB ticket, get them involved. If they think it's 1,000, use 1,000. It's not really that the estimates are as critical as much as getting the people involved. Now, timely reports is a big deal, and 4.0 will help with that a lot because daily decisions can't be made with monthly or quarterly reports. And simple reports with direct correlation to corporate goal. And probably one of the most important one is we made some decisions, we did things, did it work? Ask the people about their processes. This is an example that came up in the first time I gave this presentation to a local ASQ chapter. And we were talking about, you got to show it money, you got to show it money, you got to show it money. And he said, well, I got an example for you. In our company, the finance department said that our inventory accuracy was 94%. And this guy's in operations. He goes, that can't be right. I'm out of parts all the time. Well, the difference is finance did the calculation based on money, based on part costs. So what they said is, we're good at tracking high cost items. We don't lose the big ones and the expensive ones. But the operational view, when they went through and did the inventory accuracy calculation, they came up with 40%. And they were doing it based on piece count, which basically they're saying we're not good at tracking low cost parts. And by the way, those low cost parts are the ones that hold up production, hold me from shipping, have all these delivery impacts. So it's really important that we get the people involved. If we just started using inventory accuracy from the financial view, you'll get the operational people frustrated. Make sure that people get involved. Now back to corporate goals. This whole thing on quality costs and adoption and getting management to support it is because we're not talking what they're talking about. And I just made up some goals, enhance customer satisfaction, minimize risk, increase profit on new product launches, return on asset earned, whatever it is. We've got to understand how everything we're talking about directly correlates to corporate goals. So, everyone in quality is familiar with the cause and effect diagram. It's a good way to do that. But I do have one other tip is instead of using a failure mode or problem solving cause and effect, use a desired outcome or success mode and effect analysis. Why? It's positive. People can engage more and focus more when it's positive. Negative conversations look in the past. We're not trying to do that. We're looking into the future. We want to know what to do. And it really engages people in an environment that they get excited about the conversation versus another beat up on somebody conversation. Now, here's the good news. Quality professionals have the data. quality professionals have more analytical tools and expertise than most employees. And sharing these talents outside of quality and with your peers and the organization will provide better insights on the processes and products. I mean, again, we kind of know that if you put a bunch of engineering changes in production, it's going to cost more. The 110, 100 type rule. We also kind of know that changing a bunch of suppliers on new product launches, based on usually strictly on price, is going to impact it. So, I mean, there's 5 things that all quality professionals and really any top executive want to know. What happened, which is usually the easiest question to answer, but then keep going with it. Why did it happen? What action should be taken? Will it happen again in other areas? And analytics and quality cost analytics is the best way to sell your company on how to do this. So quality 4.0 development, everybody kind of likes to see this in the transition. In 1960s, AIG created the cost of quality group. Then applications, looking at approximations and estimates. 3.0 is where I think most companies are at right now. Get data integration with the engineering tools, the ERP tools, the manufacturing tools, and more. And then the quality 4.0 is where we get a lot of the cool AI kind of stuff associated with quality costs. The first thing that quality professionals and really anyone in an organization needs to understand is big data. And it's not just a technology shift, it's cultural and organizational transformation. Just to give you an example and where I'm learning all this, 2 of my children are very involved in this effort. The first one is the data scientist, and he works on 500 terabytes of data. I mean, think of that. Is what do we do with it? So the paradigm that, we got a bunch of files, that's gone. You take all the data from everywhere and start doing some with it. There's database changes. The old databases used to drive these systems are kind of obsolete. There's data lakes now, and we'll talk about them. There's real-time analytics now, and I mean real-time when it happens. And where the AI comes in is where we start get the machine learning and advanced analytics. All of this, and then we use the inventory accuracy examples, requires collaboration across. So finance and accounting, looking at estimates, quality, trying to look at what needs to be done to be successful in reading the quality comps. But really what we got to get rid of the traditional segmenting approach. And there's a lot of data out there. I mean, ERP, production costs, inventory, customer orders, returns, product lifecycle management. Is it a new product? Are we in prototype? Are we in pre-production? Are we in production? Are we service? The bill of material, those engineering changes we looked at. Manufacturing execution systems, real-time production data, non-conformance issues, downtime, both planned and unplanned. And then all the quality management software tools out there. And then CRM, customer complaints, service requests, when we lose a sale, interviews. Another area that has a lot of impact is labor reporting and timesheets, and allow employees to be very aware of the personal impact, and even expense reports. Where'd you go? Why'd you go? Was it looking for problems, solving problems, that kind of mentality? And then the other one that I find very interesting that the other child of mine is working on is what's going on the social media sites. What are they saying about us? What are they looking at? Now, I don't want you to focus on the contents of this slide, but the concept. And logical versus physical data. Logical is how people think and how they do their job. Physical is the actual IT technology data models. Customer has this in it. And the reason this is important is because we're trying to get out of the traditional user experience in trying to go to a software tool, find the menu, find the field, find the form, figure out whatever workflow was hard coded into the app. And we want to talk about augmented intelligence experience. And again, this is another paradigm shift on how business applications are designed and used. So instead of going through all those forms, we want to be able to do it. And this is the concept that AI will provide access via multiple avenues across multiple databases to provide recommendations, excuse me, or options for human operators to perform business action. And here's the difference. The focus will be on a push of decisions or choices versus the current traditional pull or workflows where users have to spend time in multiple systems to perform their work. So again, how, excuse me, how data analyst or data scientists think. We talked about the data sources, enterprise systems, legacy systems, miscellaneous files. The one in the middle is where we got to start thinking when we're building our quality cost model. Where is the data, all the data collection, and how are we going to prepare it? And how are we going to visualize it? And how are we going to do the data analysis? Because what we're trying to get to is, again, data storytelling. Just like the storytelling with car maintenance as an option, we want to have data story as part of the quality cost thing. And the storytelling, again, is what happened? Why did it happen? What should we do next? And might this happen again in the future? Oh, one other point on this, a conversation I was having this morning, is when you're going through these, you've got to put it in the context of who the audience is. Is this for overall corporate business goals? Is this for plant business goals, which hopefully roll up to them? Are they departmental? Are they individual? Now, again, the idea is we have the ability to start going across any data source, organizing it and visualizing it in such a way. But those conversations, if you're not clear about, are we talking corporate, plant, departmental, or individual, they can get kind of wacky. So make sure we know what we're talking about. So here's what Harrington is working on for the Quality Cost 4.0 framework. And it starts with a cost accumulator. This is where we're doing knowledge engineering, success planning, and cause and effect on corporate goals. And what the accumulator is how are costs created and applied? Like, is it a fixed or a variable cost? Is it allocation or an estimate versus an actual transaction? The ability to basically see all this data by employee, by customer, by supplier, by part number, maybe by project ID, and labor reporting and collection. Collection frequency, is it real time? Is it weekly? Is it monthly? And some of the terms you'll hear about is data warehouses. Data warehouse is where you get structured data from various sources, the ERP, the PLM, the MES, all those tools. A data lake is another term I used previously, and that's a storage system or repository that holds a vast amount of raw, unstructured, semi-structured data. Files, PDF files, spreadsheets, even photos. The flexibility makes it storing large volumes and data that may not have predefined schema. That's really important. So again, this is looking at the logical view versus the physical view. And AI can even recommend data lake assets. This is where the technology is heading to and what we're doing. So what I mean by a cost catalog That's a way to search and discover data within a data lake. And not only can they find the data they need by browsing semantic options like categories or tags, like a Google-like search, but the catalogs built in artificial intelligence can even recommend them. And then the cost driver catalog. That defines how costs are applied and varies on business status. And this, again, is where we need to focus on the cause and effect relationship on company goals being driven by what impacts the management decision. Now, cost drivers are factors. They're significantly influenced or determined by the expenses incurred. And these drivers have direct impact on cost of producing goods or services. So understanding them is crucial for effective quality cost management. By identifying and analyzing the cost drivers, we can make informed decisions to control and optimize operations. And when creating the quality cost process, it's important to understand that not all drivers behave in the same manner. For example, there's volume-based drivers, directly related to the units measured, number of units produced, machine hours, direct hours. There's transaction-based drivers by the number of transactions for events, the number of engineering change process, the number of corrective action issues. And then there's duration-based or time-related factors, such as the time spent on a particular area. This is all part of the infrastructure in the Harrington Quality Cost Accumulator. So again, just example transactions by category. You've probably seen some of these. But like in prevention, we've known about product design. I think we need to focus on the time we spend designing the processes. And I'm not just talking about manufacturing process. I'm talking about marketing processes, sales processes, HR processes, et cetera, because all those impact failure costs. A broad definition of appraisal about inspection and test and review of any work. So when there's purchase orders mistakes, there's hiring mistakes, there's marketing material that's not correct, any of those are failure costs. Again, why we need a process design and prevention. And same broad definition of failure, internal failure, any process that did not work as expected. Anytime you're doing your job, whoever you are, wherever you are in the company, and the process isn't working, that's a failure. The other one that I find really interesting is the addition of employee turnover. If employees are our most important asset, and we spend a significant amount of time hiring them, the hiring process. We spend a lot of time training or developing them. If we're losing them, that's a failure. And of course, the external failure, the classic, return products has always been out there, but there's also debit memos when customers are fixing things and charging us. And from what I've talked to with the executives we've been working on is, lost sales analysis. How do we do that? We talked about the cost drivers, volume-based, transaction-based, duration-based. The deployment plan, and it'll be different based on the maturity of your quality management system that we talked about in the beginning. The white paper that's an attachment to today's event goes through and describes this a little bit more. I just really want to highlight 3 of them today. Conduct a stakeholder analysis. This is where we get people involved to talk about their process and how their process impacts corporate goals. If you don't do that, you will have an inventory accuracy metric of 94% based on cost, but operations says 40% based on pieces. We need to get them involved. The communication plan, again, critical. putting people in a room by themselves, developing a quality cost model without engaging the people that are impacting the entire process, prevention, appraisal, failures. You will start getting people going. We send out 80 copies of the report every week. Nobody reads them. Well, again, they don't read them because it wasn't developed in such a way they did do it. And by the way, part of that can be not focusing on, are we talking about corporate reports, plant reports, department reports, or individual reports? And then pilot testing. Getting this up and running for a single part is great. For a single department is okay. But go in and try it. And try it by getting people involved and telling them what's going on. So the key takeaways is you need to understand the impact of the quality system maturity on your deployment. By the way, if you're on a low quality system maturity level, which basically means you're spending a lot of money on failure and not much anywhere else, and you don't have a quality cost of poor quality or failure system, start with that. That's fine. The other one is, what story do you want to tell? Whether it's hey, here's what's going on profitability and new product launch relative to engineering changes or supplier changes, make sure you're telling a story that people care about, basically. What makes these goals or metrics go up and down is really important. I've been in executive meetings where everybody's getting all excited because scrap went down by 10% last month. And as soon as I raise my hand and say, does anybody know why, they stop clamping and getting excited. They know it went up or down, but they don't know why. Quality professionals can do that. Again, think logical, not database, and start small, do the baby steps. A little about the Harrington Group. We are a software provider that has been in business since 1991 with customers all around the globe. Our team focuses on cost-effective software that evolves as your business grows and provides substantial support on improvements. We have a very classic and robust enterprise quality management system. And a very robust, thanks to our customers, supplier portal that this is a data source for a lot of the quality costs. But we have some time for questions. Let's see if we got any. Oh. One of them, yes, everyone who attended will get a copy of the presentation. This one I just mentioned briefly. We don't even track failure costs yet. Do we need the HGI accumulator? No, probably not. You can start with just getting those. How do I start explaining to executives the cause and effect on corporate goals? Start small, go low, go slow. Always get a champion on your side. I found that probably the most important one is getting finance and accounting when you're talking money. Also operations, because the impact on it. This one's a long one. Hold on a minute. How do the AI tools learn? Short answer, AI tools have algorithms that analyze data and learn from it, and they learn from your behavior and your questions. So they can learn. It's basically just like shopping on Amazon or any other site where other people bought this, or on your streaming videos, other people looked at this or based on it. It's the same kind of thing. but it's remember and repeat, remember and repeat. Now, because the QA required queries are more complex, but as you go through it and as you engage in it, you will get a lot more information about it. What value is benchmarked for failure costs? I mean, based on the literature search, failure costs can be anywhere from 20 to, well, based on the literature, failure costs are 60 or 70% of the total cost of quality. Cost of quality can also be, 10% of sales, 15% of sales. And again, it's not the percentage that's most important. It's showing some other things to your organization and getting buy-in to whatever one you want. I did a capital appropriation request a long time ago, and I estimated that it took, by the way, with accounting, we estimated that it took $3,000, regardless of what was on an MRB tag, to process it, to go through the process. Accounting, again, went through it, agreed with it. When we were presenting it to the executive team, the president and CEO of the company goes, "It can't be 3,000. I don't think it's more than 1,500, which is fine, because basically we went from a $30 million savings to $15 million. But it needs to do that. Okay. Well, thank you so much for attending. If we didn't get a chance to go through, we will be answering those out to you. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. If you want to know more about what we're up to, jcachet@hgit.com. Thank you so much for your time.